BXG Podcast, where pop culture and nerd culture meet at the nexus of the universe and are melded as seamlessly as the Beatles and ballet. I am one of your hosts, Brenton Bestwick, alongside my co-host, the hog hat wearing, 10-mile running, the pride of Fredonia, Greg Filson.
Hey, everybody.
Greg, how are you?
I'm excited to do this. Oh, man. Well, thank you, Brenton. I'm excited to do this. I've been waiting a long time to bust a podcast out, and I'm ready to rock. Let's do it.
So, for those of you out there who don't know Greg or I, or only know one of us, I live in the, we'll call them the suburbs of Pittsburgh to the north. And Greg lives in an apocalyptic wasteland in California that's currently burning to the ground and looking like Blade Runner 79.
Santa Barbara doesn't look like that. Santa Barbara is lush. Wine country. It's beautiful here. I got the ocean next door. It's great. Living good. Living good.
That sounds terrible. So, before we kind of get into the topics at hand, I just wanted to discuss what the purpose or why we wanted to do this. Part of it for me is I just want to put something out into the world that is, utilizes my creative juices a little bit and then can maybe entertain people, especially this time when everything is horrible in the world. And so the two things that I probably know the most about are pop culture and nerd culture. I think I'm probably, of the two of us, the more in tune with the nerd culture, with
Sure.
comics and movies and video games and things like that. And then you are a little bit more up on pop culture than I am, especially with you working, out in LA and, receiving signed scripts for gifts and things like that.
Right, yeah.
So what do you have to say about that?
I agree. I thought basically this was just so you and I could just talk an hour or so every week too, which is great. I'm down with that. I also just think that I think you and I can riff pretty well. I think that's one reason that we wanted to do this. We wanted to just kind of get our thoughts and feelings out there. I think we can do something different. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I feel like the way that we have communicated over the years is definitely different than a lot of other things out there, whether it's funnier or snarkier or just more clever. I don't know yet. This is the first time, but
Right.
I think that you and I have always had a good rapport, whether we agree or disagree, and I think that's kind of the point with this.
Right. And we are going to, try to keep things pretty PC. I promised my wife I wouldn't drop any F-bombs. And if I do, I have to bleep them out. We're not going to talk about politics. That's a pretty volatile topic of conversation, especially in these times. If it's germane to the conversation, we'll certainly touch on things. We'll probably talk a little bit about sports here and there, as we're both big sports guys, especially with, my Cleveland Indians looking like they're probably going to capture the American League MVP and the Cy Young. I won't hear anything other on the topic. But
Bieber's the man.
Well, Bieber is the man, but so is Jose Ramirez. But that's neither here nor there. We're going to get started. We have a little news rundown or sort of some topics that we're going to talk about. So I'm just going to go ahead and get into them if you're all good with that, sir.
Let's do it. Let's run it.
All right, number one, the 72nd Primetime Emmys were announced and awarded on Sunday. And it was weird. Jimmy Kimmel made jokes to old recordings, and the awards were virtually presented due to the ongoing COVID crisis. The big winner, and a bit of surprise, was HBO's Watchmen limited series, with Schitt's Creek scoring big as well, sweeping in the comedy awards. The winner of Best Drama went to Succession, which I've never heard of, beating out some heavy hitters like Better Call Saul and The Handmaid's Tale, while also besting upstarts The Mandalorian and Stranger Things. Other winners in respective categories included Zendaya, Mark Ruffalo, Jeremy Strong, Eugene Levy, and more. Any thoughts on the format, the winners?
I'll start off. The format was weird from what I saw. I love Succession. You would love Succession. Jeremy Strong is my guy. I have been in the presence of Jeremy Strong being out here. Cole guy. Beyond that, but I love the show. I'm happy it won.
Just back up a little bit and tell me a little bit about what it's about.
So it's essentially this big corporation where the dad he's an older gentleman, and he is having health problems. And the idea is succession of who's going to take over his reign of this company. It definitely has some basis off of other companies that you've seen and heard of in the news and things like that. But the idea of the show is who's taking over, what games is everyone playing to take over that role. And it's a great show. The acting's incredible. It looks cool. I mean, it makes you kind of want to be a part of it. It's also a show where you hate everybody and you like everybody at one point. So, I thought it was well deserved. Schitt's Creek I've watched, over the years too. I've always enjoyed it. I haven't stayed up with it consistently. But yeah, I mean, the format was weird. Is this the new normal for a while? For other award shows, probably. The MTV, Music Awards were weird too. So I think we just have to get used to that and move on, and hopefully things just get made so we can have shows.
We're going to talk a little about The Mandalorian later, but I just wanted to touch on this, that it was nominated for Best Drama Series. Anybody that knows me knows I'm a big Star Wars fan. Prior to us going live, I was putting together my Slave 1 20th anniversary Lego Star Wars collection birthday present. Huge Star Wars fan. I thought The Mandalorian being nominated for Best Series was ridiculous. Not because I don't like The Mandalorian. I love The Mandalorian. Have you seen?
I love it.
Okay.
I love it too.
Just verifying.
Agree. I agree.
The one...
Baby Yoda, man. I have a Baby Yoda Funko.
Okay. We'll have, actually have a Funko topic later. The episode for me that really sunk the ship as far as any contentions for the awards was the Prison Break episode. I thought that episode was horrible. I thought it was poorly acted. I thought it was poorly scripted. It felt like budget Babylon 5, Battlestar Galactica. It just didn't do it for me as good as everything else was, and it felt in so many places like a spaghetti western, like a Clint Eastwood rides into town and shoots everybody up, which I loved. I felt like that was a great different take on Star Wars. I just, when I read this or saw it online that this was being considered for Best Series, I just thought that was a bit odd. It gave me the same feelings as when Black Panther was nominated for Best Picture. I thought that was a bit odd as well. I love Black Panther. I'm wearing a Black Panther t-shirt right now. Black Panther is probably my favorite MCU movie that's not an Avengers movie. But at the end of the day, it's still two guys in catsuits fighting. And I don't know that that's Best Picture material. So I got the same kind of vibes from that. Now, I will say, I was a little disappointed that Better Call Saul and The Handmaid's Tale weren't better represented in terms of the winners. I'm a big Better Call Saul fan. I'm a big fan of Bob Odenkirk. I think he's hilarious. I think his portrayal of Saul Goodman is just something very special. And then, have you watched The Handmaid's Tale?
I haven't.
I strongly recommend it. I will say, I watched the first two seasons very quickly, and I kind of got worn out of it a little bit. I'm not into the whole binging thing. That's kind of a big reason. Another big reason I like The Mandalorian. I like the once-a-week format. It feels like appointment viewing. Handmaid's Tale also follows that. It's on Hulu. It is one of the most brutal and violent TV shows that I've ever seen. And I've been, privy to Game of Thrones, The Wire, The Sopranos, any of those sort of classic HBO shows that evoke that sort of strong, violent feel.
More brutal than The Great British Bake Off?
Probably. Can't say I'm familiar with The Great British Break. Is that a Gordon Ramsay thing? Because I know he can be a bit...
No. It's a whole other thing, but
okay.
I had to get in there.
But The Handmaid's Tale is it's incredibly violent, and if you have a wife or a girlfriend, I highly recommend, because the feelings that show evokes for
For
females,
both.
I think is very visceral. So I was a little bit disappointed. I will admit I haven't gotten around to the third season of Stranger Things. I watched like the first episode, and I just wasn't in the right headspace, so I haven't paid attention to it. What did you think of some of these individual winners? Mark Ruffalo, I heard very good things about the show that he was in. The name escapes me. Zendaya winning for Euphoria. Did you check that show out at all?
I did not. I've heard other people talk about it. I heard a lot of people say they thought she probably should have been nominated. I didn't hear anyone say that they thought she should win. So it took me by surprise. I'm not upset. If there's one award show I don't get upset about, it's the Emmys, because Seinfeld lost to Frasier year after year, and so I can't take the Emmys too seriously.
Right.
So I mean, there was nothing there that was like totally shocking to me. I've always, of the shows I consistently stay up with, I mean, I was happy. Like Succession was just what made me happy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get upset. Succession made me happy. So I would just say
what networks are on?
HBO.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really good.
I will say, I didn't watch Euphoria. My wife watched a few episodes. It's weird to me. It felt very strange.
It seems weird. Yeah.
So, that one kind of took me by surprise. I know at the time they were talking about a possible nomination for her, but I wasn't buying it just based on what little I saw. Okay. Number 2, one of the shows that will not be winning an Emmy Award anytime in the near future will be Keeping Up with the Kardashians. After 13 years and 20 seasons, the Kardashian-Jenner family announced that the 20th and final season will air in 2021. Some speculate that the move was financially driven, while others theorize that Kanye West's mental health is the culprit. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the fireworks.
Here we go. As you know, this was one of my favorite shows. I watched it from the beginning up until Kourtney was done. Kourtney was my favorite Kardashian / she's just was in love with her. I had a crush on her when the show started. I knew that wasn't going to happen, but I'm sad. I was sad when she's left. I'm sad the show's gone. It probably was time. The problem I always had with the Kardashians show, not them, but because they figured it out. They knew what they were doing, but it wasn't ever timely. And I think that's part of the problem.
Right.
You hear about these events. I mean, when Kim got robbed at gunpoint, we had to wait 6 months.
Right.
And that kind of bugged me. When there was nothing timely and it was just a day in the life,
mm-hmm.
Those were my favorite episodes of the Kardashians, when there wasn't anything happening. And you're just watching this family that's figured out a way to kind of take advantage of a situation that, whatever it was with Kim and whatever it was, with Chris, I didn't really care too much about like how they got famous. I like how they figured out a way to stay famous.
Right.
And that's what they did. And, I followed it. I enjoyed it. I didn't miss it. It was a show that if I, couldn't record it or DVR it, I would wait the next time I could watch it then. But they had their issues, I think, and what ultimately hurt them, like I said, is the timeliness. But I think what also hurt them too is, I think it actually brought like vitriol towards each other, and that's never good. With Caitlyn Jenner and everything, what happened with that, where she didn't even tell her family initially when these things were happening, and to see that on TV, even though we knew about it, was still like kind of, to me, it was sad. I can't imagine being the youngest, of that family, and hear that about your dad. And it was rough, and it was weird to watch. And I think at that point, that's when the show started to decline. I think it at that point became more of, let's have news instead of let's be keeping up with the Kardashians. Which was it about? Was what are they doing? Like, why is Courtney going to open up the store, and why are they, the spin-off shows where they went to Miami, and I missed that. I thought the show was actually like good, and I don't mean good in like a sarcastic way. I thought it was something that you could actually sit back on a Sunday night when you have the scaries running through your mind, and you could just release. You could sit there for an hour, you could hang out with them, nothing important's happening. And when important things started happening, I stopped caring as much. And that's, I'm sad to see it go, but I also think it's the right time. I wouldn't be surprised if one of them or, come up and say, hey, we have a new show we're going to do. And it's going to be very similar. Nothing would shock me.
Do you think, this is a sports reference, obviously, that there's a little bit of the Pat Riley disease of more going on? Pat Riley, of course, the famous Lakers and Miami Heat coach, who talked about the difficulties in repeating as a champion because the disease of more would encapsulate a team, and the third guy off the bench all of a sudden wants to be taking 15 shots a game because he's got a ring on his finger.
I definitely think it's a problem. I mean, you're never going to be as famous as Kim, no matter who you are. I mean, she's one of the most famous people in the world, and when you're on a show where she's the focus, and she knows she's the focus, which is the biggest component of that. She knows that she's the reason why the show exists. She kind of comes at people, which it isn't against her to do that, but it's also not fair to her sisters and to her mom to be like, hey, I'm the reason why we have this show. This is how it goes. And then year after year, when that happens for, more than a better part of a decade, you're going to get sick of it. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much you love your sisters. I don't care how much you love your mom. When she keeps coming at you, that's eventually going to show in the show. And whether that led to ratings increase for a little while, I think it also led to ratings decreasing because people don't want to see that. You don't want to relive your, Thanksgiving dinner where your uncle comes over and he's talking all this politics stuff that you don't agree with. That just makes you sad. People don't want to relive that. They don't want to watch the Kardashians. They didn't want to watch a show like the Kardashians as something to fire them up. I always watched it as something to bring me down. In a good way, bring me down.
Should Scott Disick have gotten more camera time?
Oh, 100%. Love Scott Disick. Favorite not Kardashian Jenner on the show. I mean, he's the Lord. He's the Lord. And I every time he was on, I'm like, we're having a good time. That's why I love. It was part of the Courtney thing. It was the Courtney Scott Disick thing. Great guy, terrible guy. Loved his stuff. I mean, I probably in another world am Scott Disick. We don't know. In another timeline, I'm Scott Disick. We don't know.
Well, if the multiverse theory proves itself true, there's a universe where I'm Batman. Speaking of Batman,
true. Yeah.
In movie news, number 3 in movie news, Christopher Nolan, of course, famously the director of the Dark Knight trilogy, latest blockbuster Tenet has crossed $250 million globally at the box office, according to Variety. Nolan, who famously films in IMAX, pushed the film into the theaters despite the film climate going largely frozen during the coronavirus-laden situation. And not surprisingly, the film has struggled. Meanwhile, Disney made the decision to push Mulan onto its streaming service, Disney Plus, with a $30 price tag. Yahoo reports approximately 29% of Disney Plus subscribers purchased the film in the September 1st to September 12th window, which estimates the new profits range in the neighborhood of $261 million. Does the future of... does the theater make a comeback after COVID, or is straight to home on demand the way of the future?
This is tough. I love Christopher Nolan, as you know. Beyond Batman movies, The Prestige is just one of my all-time favorite films. That's probably because Christian Bale's in it, and it's Christopher Nolan. That just all works for me. And Hugh Jackman, who I love as well. Here's the thing. I would have gone to the theater to see Tenet, and I don't do anything. But I really wanted to see it, and I couldn't see it. I couldn't go anywhere. I'm in California. It's lockdown mode everywhere like that. You can't really... I mean, I could have driven a couple, hours, probably seen it in Orange County, but I don't want to go to Orange County to do stuff. That's crazy old white people that I can't deal with. But who knows what it would have been there like. So I would have seen it. I would stream it right now. If you could tell me we're done with this podcast tonight and I could stream it, I would do it immediately. You make it $100. I would pay $100 right now. I would stream it. I haven't watched Mulan. I'm not really, super interested in it. I haven't streamed a lot of movies I have to pay for right now. I always find something else. I mean, I have everything. I have Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max. I have all this stuff. I can always find something else that I'm not paying, per movie price for. I think a lot of people go that direction. Unless it's a big blockbuster, like it's a Marvel movie. If you told me Black Widow was available to stream online, I would buy that. I like seeing movies in theaters. I like seeing big movies in theaters. There's nothing better. You and I have seen some really big movies in theaters, and we have been at 3 o'clock in the morning watching Batman, and we were pumped, and we wanted to watch it again.
Right.
No matter how tired, whether we had work the next day. I think people still want to see movies in theaters. Who knows when we can do that again? It's a bummer, but I don't think we can. It's hard to say it's declarative. I think there's some movies that you can stream. It's not going to change the difference. Marriage Story, is one of those movies that could have been in theaters, but I streamed it. I enjoyed it, or however you want to say you did something with the Marriage Story. I don't think there's any difference in the way that I approach that movie, but an Avengers movie is never going to be something I want to watch the first time on my TV. A Christopher Nolan movie is never a movie the first time I see it, I want to see it on a TV. I want to see that in the theater. I want to have that experience.
I agree. And I think those big tentpole movies, the Avengers movies, the Spider-Man movies, the Nolan IMAX spectacle movies, they deserve to be seen on a big screen. But at the same time, I will say we, as a family, did the Trolls 2 download. And Trolls 2 made more money in 3 weeks than the original did in its entire run. And I think that that's something, if you paid attention to that at all, AMC, the theater chain, was pissed at Universal for making that decision to not delay. Because at this time, this was very early COVID. And everything was getting pushed back. Everything was, now Black Widow and Wonder Woman are your typical beginning of summer, Memorial Day. Now they're, November, December. Pushed back even further. Universal made the decision to put Trolls out, $20 price tag, so a little bit cheaper. This is the thing about the Disney Plus thing is it's a $30 price tag, but you also have to be a subscriber. So it's really a $45 price tag. And I get that the price of taking your family of 4 to the theater is probably going to be more than $44 still after, popcorn and all that crap. But the Trolls price tag, $20, for 48 hours. I think my kids watched it probably 3 times in that time period. That was kind of the sweet spot. And I think it kind of, like you said, it kind of depends on the movie. I think if Nolan and that production company came and said, you know what, we're gonna do Tenet on demand, $40. I'm probably gonna pay $40.
I'm in
to see that movie.
I'm in.
But is that going to be consistent? And I think part of the problem is it should have just been delayed. Continue to delay it. It's being shown at the theater here where I live in Grove City twice a week. It's the only thing being shown. It's a huge theater. You've been there. Anybody?
It's at the Guth?
Yes. It's been remodeled.
Whoa, okay.
It had obviously you've been out traveling the world. The Guthrie Theater here in Grove City went through some trials and tribulations.
Does it have air conditioning now?
Yeah, it has all kinds of stuff. They serve alcohol.
Jeez.
They have so what happened was, I think it was Solo, like right before Solo came out, the roof caved in, and so then they just didn't have anything. And some gentleman who was a Grove City college student who moved out to Hollywood and has like a production company or something like that, remembered it from his college days and purchased it and made it into like a local landmark. They did a red carpet opening for some indie film here called Shooting Heroin. They did like the red carpet. There was some, I can't remember who the actor was. It was like, the lead was like the third male lead on some TV show that people have heard of. You could look it up. And then they actually filmed here just this past year. They filmed a Kristen Stewart movie down there, like some scenes. So it's coming back to prominence. But anyway, they are showing Tenet there, but they're showing it twice a week, Friday and Saturday at like 7:00. And for what I'm sure it costs to make that movie, 250 million gross globally probably ain't getting it done.
That's a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I think that they wanted to get it out and they pushed it out, COVID be damned. And, the proof is kind of in the pudding as far as, what the climate is like right now. I do think once all this is over that you are going to see more $20, $30 straight to demand, straight to streaming, whether it be on Prime, on Disney Plus, anything like that. I think you are going to see movies like that. And I think that they can do just as well because, like I said, Trolls 2 made the same money in 3 weeks as the original did in its entire run in the theaters. I mean, obviously, a lot of that has to do with COVID, but at the same time, it's more convenient to stay at home than it is to take 2 kids to the theater.
I was literally just going to say that. I was going to, I don't have kids.
Right.
Do you think family movies could almost thrive off of this? Whether it's a Trolls or just those old school kind of family movies where you bring everybody out because it doesn't cost as much. You can have popcorn at home. You can pause it, for breaks and stuff like that. I think that's for a family with kids of any age. I think almost that's a benefit.
Especially as
to
the
them.
animated movies seem to get longer. I can't remember, Frozen 2 we tried to take the kids to see. I ended up leaving with our daughter early and missed the last 45 minutes, which was fine because I had no interest in seeing that anyway. But when we were able to stream it at home, exactly like you were saying, they watch it for 45 minutes, they go dance around and make noises and do things that little kids do, and then they come back and they finish it or whatever. And so that kind of worked out, but the animated films are getting longer. Into the Spider-Verse, for example, is over 2 hours. And, that's a movie that's probably geared towards kids and adults. That's probably something that would do gangbusters on straight to streaming. So I do think that
I agree.
that the future probably lies somewhere in the middle. It's probably a bit of a hybrid between those big tentpole, Avatar, Marvel, Star Wars, Batman, Star Trek. Those big spectacle type movies are always going to have a place in the theater. Even some of the Tarantino movies, Scorsese movies that are just big set pieces and all that kind of stuff are going to have that prominence in a theater. But I do think some of these movies that people just kind of put them out, it's a December movie and it's just whatever. It's, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 7. Send it straight to streaming.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, number 4, speaking of Disney and Disney Plus, in the last 2 weeks, the company has treated fans to 2 trailers for upcoming Disney Plus streaming series. The first was The Mandalorian Season 2, starring Pablo Pascal and a host of new actors and characters, which that trailer was a good one.
It slapped. It slapped real hard.
Yeah. And the previously revealed and little discussed to this point, WandaVision, the first outing of the MCU in series format. WandaVision stars Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, and Paul Bettany as the Vision. And based on the trailer, it appears to be a bit of a mix of an acid trip and a fever dream. So
I was going to say it's a fever dream.
Let's start
Holy cow.
Let's start with The Mandalorian. And this is going to be coming to Disney Plus on October 30th. And
Thank God.
Obviously huge reception for the titular character, the Mandalorian, as well as the phenomenon known as Baby Yoda. Rumors of Boba Fett coming back. some of the characters that they've teased. I've read some things online that they feel like that there might be a Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker appearance cameo in this season. How excited are you for Mando season 2?
I try not to speak in hyperbole too often, and I don't think I am speaking 1 to 10. I'm not going to be the person who gives you an 11. I'm going to be the person who gives you 100. After seeing that trailer, after the season ended, but after seeing that trailer, I've been like, just give me it now. Inject it in my veins. I need it. When they said the word Jedi,
Yeah.
I'm literally getting chills. I'm not watching anything. I'm talking to you about this season. I have goosebumps. It's gonna be incredible. I really don't know what to say. We may get Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, I think at this point Mark Hamill's down for anything. He's not.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill's not doing anything. He's got. He does the animated voice of the Joker. Most people don't know that.
Yeah.
But other than that, Mark Hamill doesn't have a whole lot going on. So there's no reason why he couldn't pop in just for a cameo. I will say the moment that got me the most excited in the trailer was when he was flying his ship, the Razor Crest, and the 2 X-wings came along beside him. Yes. That was the moment for me that I was like, okay, they're taking this to another level. I know that they've talked about the different characters and the different actors and possibly bringing back Boba Fett and any of these other characters that could play a role or be interesting. But that moment for me was the moment that solidified that they're going to take this to the next level. So I was super excited about that. Always excited for anything at all that Apollo Creed has to do with. Why the hell can't I think of his name right now? All I can think of is Apollo Creed and Action Jackson. Carl Weathers, there it is.
Carl Weathers, yeah. That's
Carl Weathers right. of Arrested Development fame. But anything that Carl Weathers has to
and Happy Gilmore.
Yeah. Yes. Hey, you got yourself a suit, baby. I just think it's gonna be I just think it's gonna be awesome. I can't wait. We're a little over a month away. It's like I said before, appointment viewing Friday. First thing that's gonna be on my mind is The Mandalorian.
Yeah, if someone said you'd have to, quit your job to watch this show, I'd probably consider it. It's so good. Like you said earlier, it had its flaws in the first season. That main episode, I totally agree that we discussed earlier. I totally agree. But satisfaction-wise, it's been a while since I watched a show, and I was just like, because I love Star Wars too. I'm not as big of a nerd as as you would say you would be. I still love everything. I know the main characters. I don't know the ins and outs of everything, but I still love it. And for it to be the best Star Wars content we've had in, since the 80s, I would argue. I mean, it's what you want. It's everything you hope the movies would be of recent memory. And I'm not against the most recent movies.
I am, they suck.
But okay, then that's that's fine. That's fine. But I still agree that The Mandalorian's better than any of those 3 movies, and I wish that Star Wars was just kind of more go this direction. I wish it would just be a series of things like this instead of disappointing us with movies, good, bad, or the other. If they can do things like this and take a character, because I was so invested. I didn't think I would be. I thought maybe the show will be okay, but I loved it, and I can't wait for it to be back. It's one of those shows where I'm like, I saw the trailer. I watched it immediately. It popped up on my phone that you can watch this. I watched it. I've seen the trailer who knows how many times. I paused it for different things. I don't know if I've actually been more excited for a TV show. I couldn't tell you last time I've been this excited for a TV show, to be honest with you. I love it, and it's content that we need. And it's content that we get to have, new, fresh content in the time of this crap that we're dealing with that we can kind of, for that hour or whatever, get away from.
I will say, I don't think it's as good as Rogue One. Rogue One is my favorite of all of the Disney Star Wars stuff. And I think the reason why, and it kind of goes in with what makes The Mandalorian special as well, is if you go back and watch those old Star Wars movies, A New Hope, Empire, and Jedi, they're not funny. There's nothing about them that's funny. There's moments of levity, and those moments are typically facilitated by 3PO and R2. There's no Luke Skywalker drinking green milk and throwing a lightsaber over his shoulder and Han Solo being surprised at the impact of Chewie's bowcaster, or any of the other things that they tried to force into, no pun intended, force into
Well done.
the new trilogy to try to add humor and gear it towards kids. Because here's the thing, at the end of the day, Star Wars is about selling toys, right?
Yeah.
But though that original trilogy, like I said, you might have some levity, there might be a little bit of comic relief, but it wasn't trying to be funny. And I think the thing that I like about Rogue One and The Mandalorian is it's kind of cut from the same cloth, especially Rogue One. It's very, and it is, connective tissue to A New Hope. Minus Baby Yoda and his hijinks, The Mandalorian's not funny, and there's not moments where they're trying to be funny. It's very serious. And I think that that's kind of why those two things work for me as opposed to, the new trilogy.
I think we just wanted something different, too. I think we got so stuck in this, and I agree with you, Rogue One. To some degree, I enjoyed it a lot, too. But I still think The Mandalorian is more of the content. Maybe it's just because I like the idea of having something to look forward to every week. And so you see Rogue One, that's it. You pumped. You were pumped to see it. You saw it. It was great. You maybe rewatch it. And I've rewatched the original Star Wars movies 100 times. I'll never do that with Rogue One, as good as it is. The Mandalorian, I've watched every episode at least twice, just to catch up on it. Whether I read something about it and I'm like, oh, I got to see this again. I'd watch it on TV one day, I'd watch it on my phone the next day just to kind of catch up on it. That's why I want Star Wars to maybe go in this direction where we get these kind of things. And I agree with the content of not trying to be funny. If there's moments of levity, if there's some sort of, weird little thing that makes you laugh, it's not forced. Like you said, it's not pushing me in a direction that I didn't expect to go in a bad way. Well, this show kind of pushed me in a direction that I wanted to go in.
Here's the moment where it was just like so cringy. And I enjoyed The Force Awakens for what it was, which was just basically A New Hope Part 2. I couldn't stand The Last Jedi. I've seen it 3 times now. I think on my most recent viewing, I appreciated it a little bit more. I think The Rise of Skywalker is objectively terrible. And the 2 moments for me was when the Knights of Ren are walking through and one of the regular stormtroopers looks at the other one and says, "Goals." I just thought that was horrible. Horrible. And I almost dropped an F-bomb, and I apologize. But I just thought that was terrible. It's so forced. It's so stupid. It's so, trying to skew towards a younger audience. Don't do that. Don't do that. No. Just give us, what we want. And Goals is not what we want. That was horrible.
No, Goals is not what we want at all. There was nothing wrong with the original 3 Star Wars. If you want to pick things apart, go ahead and pick things apart. I love those movies. I would, you could pick apart anything. You can pick whatever. I don't care. You can pick apart Scorsese movies, whatever. Those are masterpiece movies that I wanted in that genre. And The Mandalorian is doing what I want out of that kind of content.
All right, let's talk about WandaVision. The fever dream acid trip LSD WandaVision.
The first time I watched it, I was on a lot of allergy meds, so I didn't know if it was me or them. I like that character.
Which? Vision or Scarlet Witch?
Scarlet Witch.
Okay.
I like it. Wanda as the main character. I like that character. I like the character in the comic books. I like the character in the movies. I think she does a good portrayal of it.
I think she had an accent in one of the movies and then didn't have it in the rest of them, but that's splitting hairs.
She did. That's true. That is true. But I like that. Maybe it's just because I like that. I like the fact that she's super powerful, but really doesn't use it, which is like the Superman thing, whatever. But anyhow, on that, I digress. I don't think that character warrants a show. I don't care if that's I'm a you know me, big time Marvel dude. I don't care about what Wanda and Vision were doing before Cap showed up with his miraculous beard and hair to save them. Other people might, and will I watch this? Probably, because I got not a lot going on, and it's Marvel content. You put Marvel Studios in front of stuff, I'm gonna watch it. That's where I'm at in my life. I know I don't have to think that hard. I know I'll probably be somewhat entertained. That was weird, though. That was super weird. I've watched it, I think, 3 times now. Twice not on allergy meds. It's super weird. I don't know what to expect. I couldn't tell you if I think it's going to be good, bad, terrible. I have no idea.
So I think some of it's going to be interesting because they make it look very sitcom-y. I think some of it. Mm-hmm. I think some of it's made to look like I Love Lucy, and that's kind of interesting. I think it's going to be interesting. I don't know that it's going to move the needle. I'm way more looking forward to Falcon and the Winter Soldier because I think that's probably going to be more in line with what we expect, and that's sort of the difference for me between Disney running Star Wars and Disney running Marvel. Marvel, I want by the numbers. I want the cheesy humor because that's what comic books are about. It's about being campy. Star Wars, to me, there's a certain level of camp, but not what they've been pushing on us. That stuff fits with Marvel. It doesn't fit with Star Wars. Not to beat the dead horse, but like I said, Falcon and Winter Soldier, I think it's going to be by the numbers. WandaVision is going to be weird, but I think that could be a good thing too. Maybe take us in a direction we weren't expecting.
Maybe we're doing a podcast about it, and this is incredible. It's a sitcom that I didn't know I needed,
right?
But I got it, and here we are. I love it. It wouldn't shock me. I think because I have no idea what to expect, that's intriguing to me in a way, but also I found it weird that they went that direction to single out that character that is never anyone's favorite character. I've never met anyone that said this is my favorite character. And, you can go that way with other characters in the Marvel Universe because you can't have a Captain America show with Chris Evans. You're not going to have, Iron Man show it. You're just not going to have that. So I guess I can see why they went in some direction, but like I said, I'll watch it. I'm gonna give it a shot. I'll probably watch every episode. And if it's I Love Lucy, and Wanda has to scoop a bunch of chocolate up, and in retrospect, that'd be awesome. I mean, not actually that thing, but if there's something funny like that stands out, where like Wanda is just doing something super silly, I think that would be great. I actually hope it goes in that direction. I hope it doesn't try to be anything other than camp.
I do think the goal here is to tie this into the Doctor Strange movie. I know from reading online that Wanda plays a big role in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which is a mouthful, but
so much.
I think that that's going to be the goal, and they're going to do some weird, trippy stuff with this show to kind of get us to that point. But we'll see. Either way.
Yeah.
All right. Number 5, in gaming news, PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S have been given prices and release dates. The Xbox Series X comes in $499.99 USD, and it's a pint-sized half brother. The Xbox Series S comes in a price tag of $299.99 USD. Both systems will launch on November 10th, with pre-ordering having gone live on September 22nd. Meanwhile, the PlayStation 5 proper comes in at $499.99 USD, and the digital edition totes a price tag $399.99 USD, with both units arriving on November 13th, with pre-orders going live on September 17th. So I'm going to give you a little bit of insight here, because I know this isn't necessarily your arena. Let me break it down like this. PlayStation 5, you got two SKUs. You have one with the disc drives, $499, $500. You have one that's all digital, $400, $399. That's the only difference. So your PS5, you're either downloading all your games or you're getting discs. And it's really just a convenience thing. I myself, I have not purchased a physical video game in about 4 years. I'm all digital at this point. And I find it to be more convenient. I actually find it to be more cheap as well, or cheaper, I should say. Because aside from the big games that come out that I really want to have day one, I'm scouring for sales. I buy digital games for sometimes as low as literally $1. The Division 2 at one point was on sale, and that's a big game for $1. So it's $1. I may never even play that game, but I'll pick it up for $1. So for me, the SKU that I'm certainly trying to buy, trying being the operative word, is the digital version. Now the Xboxes are a little bit different. The Xbox Series X is the big daddy. It's going to be the most powerful console coming out at the beginning of the generation. I'm not a tech guy, so I can't speak to teraflops and gigahertz and megawatts and all that crap. But it's going to be the daddy, and the Series S is going to be a little less powerful. It's going to have about half the hard drive space, but it comes in at a $299.99 price point. Just for comparison's sake, PlayStation 4 in 2013 was $499.99, so the same price as, or I'm sorry, $399.99, which was the same price as the digital edition and $100 more than the Xbox Series X or Series S. So when you adjust for inflation, you can actually get two next-gen systems for less money than you pay, less cash value than you paid for your PS4 at launch in 2013, which to me is crazy. It's a crazy amount of value. And that's a big reason why these things have flown off the shelves in terms of the pre-orders, which actually is gonna take me right into number 6 here. Speaking of the PS5 pre-orders, they were pretty much a disaster. Pre-orders were slated to go live on September 18th until a handful of retailers, beginning with Walmart, decided to pull the trigger a little bit early. Consumers were left scrambling for information and places to buy the new hardware. If you were lucky enough to score a pre-order from certain retailers, you may have gotten an email stating, "Hold the phone, we might not be able to ship on time." This week, Sony tweeted an apology and reported more units would be available soon, but little details were given otherwise, and those units have not been made available at this time. Just sharing my own experience, I kind of put all my eggs in the Amazon basket. I saved up my money. I went and bought some Amazon gift cards because I wanted to utilize the fuel perks that we have at our local grocery store. So I went out to the
Giant
store,
Eagle?
County Market.
Okay.
So I went out and I bought my
West PA culture.
Yeah, right, sure. Past the sheets to get there too,
Heck yeah, you did.
and $12 Generals, and it's only a mile away. So I went out and I grabbed my Amazon cards, and I don't remember the time that I went out exactly, but by that point, so there was a reveal event. They talked about some games, some big exclusives, things like that, and then they said, "This is the price. These are when pre-orders are going live." Walmart decided, "Nah, we're going to go ahead and start selling ours now." I think it was about 7:15, and they were gone by 7:45. And it seemed like they were almost doing this on purpose, like it was staggered, because pretty much right when Walmart sold out, Target went live. And when Target went live, or when Target sold out, Best Buy went live. So I'm just sitting there waiting for Amazon. I'm figuring if Best Buy goes live at 8:30 and sells out at 9, Amazon's going at 9. So I waited and waited and waited, and I think it was about 11:05, I nodded off for a little bit. And I think I woke up right around 11:40, and the pre-orders on Amazon went live at 11:30 and were sold out, like right as I was coming to. So I have not gotten my hands on a pre-order yet. I'm still trying. I have Amazon. I'm not going to say her name because she's sitting right next to me, but that little dot robot that we all are familiar with. I don't want to draw any attention to myself because she's always listening. She's going to let me know. I have some
Alexa.
Yeah, I don't want to, don't talk about her. I don't want her to know. But I have that, and then I would say for anybody trying to get their hands on these things, on Twitter, at IGN Deals tweets out whenever one of these retailers is putting any of these systems on. They also have different things for like different phones and TVs and stuff like that if you get a sale on them. So I would recommend following that at IGN Deals. But, you know, the PS5 was a nightmare. The Xbox wasn't much better. They did say when there was going to be a time. They did say a date and time. They made a nice little sly joke at Sony's expense about the date and time, but it kind of went the same. Like some of the retailers went live, they were gone in minutes. Then they'd come back on, then they'd be gone. It's just been a bit of a nightmare.
I just have really one main question. Someone, I have a PS4 and I just play the games as is. I'm not like an online guy. I don't have that kind of energy. And I don't have anything against that. It's just not how I roll. I'm just old school in that way. Why would you get the $100 more version when you can just download?
Some people just like having the disc. Some people some people like having, to display on their shelves and some things like that. And then the other thing is you get, you and I are fortunate to live on the East and West Coast respectively where the internet's good. But if you go to somewhere like Kansas, good freaking luck being able to download a game the size of for example, one of the big free Battle Royale games is Call of Duty Warzone. Call of Duty Warzone comes out every season that they have because they break it up into however many long the seasons are, however many days. And then you get a new season. Those downloads are all like 70 gigabytes each. Good luck.
So it's going to take forever.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right. I just want to, that's not something I'm like super, because, when I bought the PlayStation, it came with games, but I think I have every other game I've got, I just download because it's here.
Right.
Like, I don't want to go out and talk to people. I want to just have the game now, have it in 5 minutes, and here we go.
Right.
I'm ready to rock.
And I like the pre-order for games, and then they preload for you, and you can start them right away and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's good as well. But like I said, some people, they just like having that physical thing. I'm a guy who, when the Kindle came out, I bought one and I read things on it, and I somewhere along the lines decided that I just prefer to have the book in my hand.
I do too. I guess that is the one thing. For me though, like in video games, it's still, I don't know. But teach your own, I guess, on that end of things. That was just one question I had because I saw that and I tried to actually get the $400 one, and I was out of luck on that as well. I did try to do that because I wanted to have like a space with that both going at the same time or whatever. But yeah, that was. I'll just wait.
I will say that the CEO of PlayStation, Jim Ryan, did say somewhere, I don't remember exactly what publication quoted this, that there will be more PS5s available at launch than there were PS4s, and I had no trouble getting a PS4 at launch. I remember it. I went, on a Thursday night, midnight, picked my thing up, finagled an extra vacation day that I didn't actually have owed to me, so that I could stay up all night and play. So I don't have any fear that I'm not going to be able to get one of these things. I don't think this is a Nintendo Switch situation where it was like you had to know somebody to know somebody that knowed somebody.
That was a disaster.
Like you had to know your best friend's little cousin's uncle worked at Walmart and they're going to get a shipment at 4:00 in the morning on a Sunday and there's 6 feet of snow. That's the only way you're going to get one. I don't think that it's going to be that drastic. They do realize that there's a lot of demand for these consoles, especially given the situation where nobody has anything to do. And the reality of it is, a lot of people have been cashing in this unemployment stuff where they've been getting that bonus money, and they're banking it towards being able to buy one of these systems. So there is a lot of demand, and I do think that both entities are aware of that. Now, I don't have it in the notes here, but I do want to touch on something that's called the Xbox Game Pass. And so what that is it's similar in a sense. It's a subscription service. It's $10 a month. And if you have the Xbox or a higher end PC that can play some of these games, and you have this subscription service, then you are eligible to play whatever is on this day and date when they release, which is a big deal. And we're going to kind of get into that here in the next topic. But the value of Game Pass, when you're paying $120 a year versus, that's going to be the price of 2 AAA exclusives on one of these next systems. Or you pay $120 and get all the AAA exclusives. And that's a big deal because that has me, somebody who is a Sony pony through and through. I've had every system that Sony's ever put out, most of the peripherals that go with them. Makes me think about getting an Xbox. I'm gonna get a PlayStation. It's gonna be my first purchase, and I'm gonna love it because there's gonna be games that aren't gonna be anywhere else on it. There's gonna be Horizon and God of War, and I think we're gonna see an Uncharted from this secret studio that's down in San Diego. And those are all games that I love that you can't find anywhere else. But $299.99 and then $120 for Game Pass to get a lot of these other games. I'm not a Halo guy, but I'd love to play Gears. I've never played Gears. I'd love to play Fable. It's got me thinking.
I totally get that. I've been a Sony guy through and through. Same thing, every system since forever. I mean, I was one of the first people to have a PlayStation. But when you're talking to me about this, I understand that appeal. You actually kind of talked me into thinking about it. I'm not a huge game guy, but if I can, that's not that much money to put towards something. It really isn't. And to just have that access, I could totally be down for something where it's like, oh, okay, $120, let's do this. Let's have access to this extra content that I'm not going to get anywhere else. I'm always about extra content, and I love it when it's exclusive, and that's really cool. I knew about it just from when, sending me these topics. I looked into that, and I was like, this is, I was trying to find the fine print. Mm-hmm. There is no fine print. It's there. It's, you get the stuff, you pay this amount, and here we go. You're ready to rock.
All right, so to that end, number 7, if the pre-order debacle for Sony wasn't enough, they took another gut punch on September 21st. When Jason Schreier of Bloomberg reported that Xbox would be purchasing ZeniMax, and with it Bethesda Game Studios and all of its holdings, which include the following developers: id Tech, developer of the Doom series, Machine Game, developer of Wolfenstein, Arcane, known prominently for Dishonored, Tango Gameworks, developer of the Evil Within series, and Bethesda Software proper, known for the mega popular Fallout and Elder Scrolls series. If you've heard of Skyrim, it's been on literally everything since it came out. That's Elder Scrolls 5. Most interesting in this are that Tango and Arcane each have timed PS5 exclusives in Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop, respectively. Xbox boss, we call him the X-Boss, Phil Spencer, has gone on record to say that Bethesda games would come to other consoles on a case-by-case basis. So this kind of ties into the Game Pass thing. This is a huge get for Xbox. And they paid $7.5 billion to acquire ZeniMax. And having the IP of Doom, Wolfenstein, Fallout, Elder Scrolls is a big deal. Those are system sellers. But I don't think that they are going to wall those behind. This isn't the old days where if you have a Nintendo, you're getting Mario, and you're not getting Mario if you have PlayStation and Xbox. If you have an Xbox, you're getting Halo. If you have PlayStation, you're getting Uncharted. You're getting Crash. It's not like that anymore. I believe that. I believe with all that I am that these Bethesda games are still going to come to PlayStation. But here's the difference. They're all going to be Game Pass Day 1 games, which means when you pay for Game Pass, $120, you're getting Doom for free. Well, for $10 a month. You're getting Doom, $10 a month. Fallout, $10 a month. Starfield, $10 a month. Wolfenstein, $10 a month. Elder Scrolls, $10 a month. Now add those up on PlayStation. $70 each for just those 5 games. We don't know what else they have coming down the pipe. That's the cost of another system. So that's where the value proposition really comes in with the Game Pass that you're not getting on PlayStation. You might get, like I had said, the deals and the sales, and you can pay attention for those things. But if you want these games day and date when they release, the cheapest place to play them is going to be on Xbox. And I think that that's really what their strategy is here.
Do you think PlayStation's going to do something like this? Do you think there's a response from Sony? They're like, hey, we need to do something. We need to compete with this because, to have that capacity from Xbox to get these games. And I know of these games, and I don't know any of this stuff, but those are games that just stick out. Those are games in the zeitgeist for gamers, of course, but for non-gamers, you still know about this. Do you think that happens with Sony?
I think what Sony has... So right now they have the PS Plus subscription, and you get 2 free games a month, but those aren't going to be... They're not day-and-date heavy hitters like that. You're not getting... you're not getting The Last of Us as a PS Plus game. You're not getting, MLB The Show day and date. They usually put it on like before the next baseball season starts. You're not going to get God of War day and date on PlayStation Plus. I think the difference is you have a more premium experience at PlayStation, okay. And that's what they're banking on. Xbox now owns 25 development studios to PlayStation's 13. The difference, though, is that as good as some of those studios are, id, 343, who develops Halo, the Coalition, who develops Gears, none of them touch the pedigree of Naughty Dog. None of them touches the pedigree of Sony Santa Monica. None of them touches the pedigree of Sucker Punch or Insomniac, which are giving you games like Uncharted, The Last of Us, God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, Spider-Man. Nothing on Xbox is going to come close to those games. They're playing a different game right now, Xbox and Sony. I think Sony's playing if you want the premium experience, this is where it's at. If you want the value, this is where it's at. I think that you're looking at almost like Xbox is playing the Netflix model and PlayStation's playing the HBO model.
I was going to go a different route. I was just going to go, you're playing like Mercedes versus Ford.
Yeah.
You can get a Mustang, and you can get a really cool car like a Mustang, but that doesn't come close to like what you're going to get with the sports car version of whatever Mercedes pulls out. It's not I feel like that's what you're going for. You're going for... It's more expensive, but you're also getting better content. You know what you're getting year in, year out with Sony. You know what you're getting with like a Mercedes-Benz, which all these companies know. That's why those cars or those games and the actual equipment is more expensive. You're getting quality over the quantity. And this is one thing I'm excited about for PlayStation 5. The thing that really popped me is Gran Turismo. I mean, that was a game that I have just loved throughout, and you're not getting that with Xbox, right? I just want to make sure.
They have Forza, and actually, most people at this point think that Forza is probably a little bit better than Gran Turismo.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I didn't enjoy it as much when I played it, and I was just I always enjoyed Gran Turismo more. So it's funny to me. I mean. Like I'm not in that gaming community, but maybe that's just me. Maybe it's just because I was used to that.
Sure.
But I looked at it and I was like, count me in. Forza just didn't have me ever.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people are talking about PlayStation, like you said, counterpunching and maybe going out to acquire some studios. There's nothing really that's for sale. Nothing of consequence. There's some. I do think that there are some moves that could be made. I think that they could certainly go after. They could try to lock Kojima down, and try to maybe purchase Metal Gear off of Konami and give that back to Kojima. Silent Hill, some of the other Konami IP. But I don't think there's a move that's a counterpunch to this. I think they need to make several small moves. I think they need to have a more robust option for PS Now, which is their sort of streaming option. I think that they need to lump that in with PS Plus. I think that they need to. I don't. Here's the difference. Microsoft wipes their ass with $7.5 billion. That's like 3 weeks of revenue for them. That's not the case for Sony. So they're going to have to be a little bit more tactile. That's the approach that they're going to have to take. But I do think right now, and like I said, when we started these topics, I'm a Sony pony fooling through. I think they're losing the war right now.
Wow. And it's incredible to hear that from you. As I've just been a Sony guy because it's just something I'm used to. But to hear that from you, an actual avid gamer, that's interesting and intriguing for the time going forward here.
Yeah, time will tell, and I do think that there's going to be more information released on both of these systems, heading up to the respective launches. But time's a ticking. We're only about 6 weeks away. All right. Cool. I have just a few quick hitters here just to get your quick thoughts on. Number one, Rick Moranis returns and will star in Shrunk, a Netflix original continuation of the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids series. He also appeared in a commercial with Ryan Reynolds. Are you happy to have Rick back?
Who wouldn't be happy?
Right.
What if you are against Rick Moranis being back? Where on the doll did he touch you? That's the problem that I have. He Ghostbusters, Honey, he is a gift to us.
Right.
And to have this gift given to us, taken away by his own, he wanted to get out of it, and I understand for whatever reasons. And then for him to say, yes, let's do it, let's run it back, let's Honey, I Shrunk the Kids it again, which is a classic, and everybody loves that. How do you not love that? I'm excited. He is a classic gem of a person and an actor. But I put that person first because I've never heard a bad word about Rick Moranis.
Yeah, for those who don't know, he stepped away about 20 years ago when his wife passed to raise his children. Apparently they are grown and independent at this point, so he's going to get back into the acting game. Number two, an Arizona man made $6,000 selling a vintage Aladdin t-shirt on a virtual flea market. Do you have any fun things lying around the house that we could make a buck on?
I have a 96 edition Scottie Pippen starting lineup original packaging. So that's the year he got inducted into the 50, anniversary greatest player of all time. The Bulls, that was the year post the 72 and 10 season. I don't know what I'd get for that. I don't know if I would want to depart with it, but money speaks, and I'm ready.
Classic anime feature Akira, which you probably have no clue what it's all about, is getting a 4K upgrade this year. I, for one, am excited. Any thoughts?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
I saw this online earlier on Nerdist. Man with the most Funko Pops. You mentioned your Baby Yoda Funko. How many Funkos you got?
We have a Funko shelf. Let's see. Yoda, Clayton Kershaw, Michael Jordan, Cat from. We probably collectively have 15.
Okay, well the dude with 15? The most got 5,000. So
that's insane.
I guess he's the world record holder for Funko Pops. But you can check.
How's that happen? Where's he put those?
The picture I saw, they're all still in the box, so they're just on shelves.
Well, you definitely have them in the box. I only have one out of the box.
Right.
Ron Weasley. I have Ron Weasley out of the box.
Nice.
Well, it's because he couldn't stand Harry Potter bitching to him.
Fair enough. Also on Nerdist, it appears as though a school bus-sized asteroid will barely miss planet Earth passing over the South Pacific. Some people say that this is the first good thing to happen in 2020, I say mercifully, just let's end it. Let's just.
I think that asteroid didn't want to have to deal with this.
That's fair.
It saw what was going on. It said, "I don't think so. See you around." It didn't want to play a part in 2020. It wanted its own year. That's what happens.
Right. All right. Just a little wrap up. Recommendations. What are you consuming right now? TV, books, music, games, anything. What do you got going on?
I'll start off book-wise. I just finished Elena Ferrante's Life of Lion Adults. The Lion Life of Adults. Sorry. I have never read Elena Ferrante. That's her nom de plume for the book people. It was awesome. I didn't think I would relate to a teenage Italian girl. I did. It was weird. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with the weirdness. TV what? Yeah, exactly. Who knows? TV wise, I'm actually getting back into Better Call Saul. I didn't really watch it. We're doing that. I'm bringing my girlfriend Janie into the Seinfeld Malcolm in the Middle universe. So we're doing that too. That's the most content right now. I'm usually pretty busy, but that's try to fit that in. What about you?
I've been watching The Boys. I'm flabbergasted as to why I didn't catch on with this in season 1. I'm almost caught up to the current episode in season 2. It's great. It is as Billy Butcher would say, it's diabolical. It's funny. It's just unnecessarily gory at times, which kind of adds to the humor. It's very good. It's based on a graphic novel, so that's good. I don't know how to read, so I'm not reading anything, and
It's tough.
it is. It's I was
Left to right, unless you're reading.
That's my problem.
Manga. Yeah.
PlayStation. The main game that I've been playing is, and actually, do you have the ability to look up something right now? Because I want to show you something. I've been playing Fall Guys. I've been playing Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout.
Okay.
Look up.
I do.
Look up Fall Guy Anatomy. Go to images, and it's the first one. And if that's not the stuff of nightmares, then I don't know what is.
It's weird that it came up so easily.
I think this is just
This
is just like in the last day or so. If you're listening, look up Fall Guys Anatomy. It's the first Google image.
There we go. Oh my god. That is nightmare inducing.
Yeah. So if you're not familiar, Fall Guys is a game where you play as one of these weeble.
The second image is equally terrible. Why are we doing this? Who? Hidden abs and nipples. Fall Guy doesn't need hidden abs and nipples.
So if you're not familiar, this is a PC and a PlayStation game. It was a PlayStation Plus day and date game. It was the most downloaded PlayStation Plus game ever, surpassing Rocket League.
You couldn't avoid it.
You play as a weeble looking thing, and you just kind of play these
as you do
these mini games. And
do they fall down?
They do. And your objective is to be the final Fall Guy.
They're not supposed to.
So it's fun. It's one of those games that's easy to play, difficult to master. It makes me want to throw my controller through my TV multiple times per session.
Fall Guys are officially 6 feet tall and have human skulls and nipples.
There you go.
There you go. It's on the internet. It has to be true.
Right.
So this is PC Gamer.
Yeah.
This is where I found that content. Okay.
If you're on Twitter, follow at Fall Guys.
Follow
game.
me at GT. Oh, okay. Yeah.
If you're on Twitter, follow.
I need the followers.
Follow at Fall Guys Game. Their account's pretty funny. The only other game I beat this game and got the platinum trophy in it a while ago, over probably 2 months ago. But I do want to give a special shout out to it. Is Ghost of Tsushima. It's likely to be the last big PlayStation 4 exclusive to PlayStation 4, not cross-gen with PlayStation 5 or anything like that. Sucker Punch Games, this is their first outing since the infamous series. It is excellent. Good combat. It's beautiful. It's a lengthy it's a lengthy romp. through feudal Japan, and you play as a samurai, and there's few things more badass than a samurai.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I definitely, if you're into third-person action, definitely check it out. Ghost of Tsushima.
I like second person action, but
I don't know that that's the thing, Greg. If you are on Twitter, follow Greg on Twitter at
GT Phil's Sin. GT Phil Sin.
GT
Sorry,
Phil
I want
Sin.
my.
And
yeah.
you can follow me at YWHY2, the number 2 BEE Y2B4. I do post some Fall Guys antics if I actually ever win a round. So you can check that out, and then just other musings on, PlayStation and sports and things of that nature. Greg, how do you think the first episode went?
I had a lot of fun.
I had a lot of fun too.
I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous, just not because we were talking, but I didn't want to sound like an idiot.
Sure.
I don't think I did.
I don't think I did. I don't think you did. I might have.
Yeah. No, I think it was great. I'm excited to do more. I hope people listen. If you are listening, rate us 5 stars, 5 stars. Subscribe, unsubscribe, subscribe again. That's what we want. We want you to listen, but we want you more to subscribe, unsubscribe, and subscribe again, because we want ads, so we get stuff.
Tell your parents.
Tell your parents.
All right. I think that was it.
All right, man.
Sounds good.
Well, can't wait to do it again.
Can't wait till next week.
Woo!